Staying in the ACC, North Carolina finally looked like the team that we saw in the tournament last year, when they were able to put points on the board and beat Ohio State in overtime. Baycott had 28, Love 22, Davis 21. What was different? How were they able to get it done this weekend?
Well, it was a huge win for them. I mean, they needed that bad. They kind of sputtered through the non-conference. They needed that bad. I mean, I don't think it's too much. It's not an exaggeration to say that, that shot Pete Nance hit that may have jolted North Carolina. That may have been just what they needed, just what the doctor ordered. Hopefully this will kind of get them going like they did in February of last year when they were kind of sputtering along and trying to figure out how to make the NCAA tournament. And then all of a sudden they got off and got rolling, and the rest is history. They played for the national title. So maybe that'll happen a little bit earlier. A little bit earlier this time, a little bit earlier with their play in Madison Square Garden. I thought it was interesting. That's the first time Carolina had played in Madison Square Garden in over 10 years, which I thought was wild. Duke set up like a second home up at Madison Square Garden, and a lot of these teams play up there all the time. It's a phenomenal venue, phenomenal place. We were actually, the COVID year, we were going to play Syracuse at the Garden when we were at LSU, and I was looking forward to that. But phenomenal venue. But I thought it was interesting. Carolina hadn't played there in a while, but I thought their fans showed out. I thought their program really showed well on TV, and I thought it was a huge win for them. Like you said, the two guards, Davis and Love, played well. Baycott did what he does, which those big three are going to have to play well most nights for Carolina to win. And we'll see if this is the kickstart they needed heading into SEC play. But it was a heck of a ball game for sure. Everybody's going to talk about Nance's shot, but I thought they did a really good job of not trying to run a full court play. They got the ball to half court, called timeout, so then they could set that play up from half court as opposed to running a full court play. So I thought it was really good coaching and really sound strategy by Coach Davis down the stretch.
Yeah, that play that they ran for Nance to get that last shot, obviously you pointed it out because it was very similar to something we've talked about earlier in one of these episodes. Lloyd, if you want to pull the clip up.
Yeah, it was very similar. It was the same type action as that play we looked at from Penn State, where they didn't have to pass it out this time in the Penn State Clemson game in our first episode. They didn't have to pass it out to the wiper action up top this time because they only needed 2 to send it to overtime. But same type play, they found a matchup they liked with a smaller guy on a taller guy, somebody who could shoot over it. They got this fake action going on up top just to tie up the help so they can't help, and he just shoots it right over. I mean, I'd have liked to see the kid from Ohio State jump up to contest it. You got to jump to contest. You can't just have your hands there. But once again, that similar action, that Brad Stevens action, that Brad Stevens play, a lot of teams are now going to that, and it worked for Carolina on Saturday.
Do you ever think that it's a risk to call that play, like to throw that pass, the skip pass, kind of over the post?
It's tough. I mean, it's a tough pass. The hardest part's completing that pass. I think, like I said, Ohio State didn't have great ball pressure on the ball. The guy didn't jump up to contest it. I mean, there's a couple things that Ohio State could have done better. Defensively with that. But yeah, it's certainly a difficult pass. Yeah, he's just standing there. He should have jumped up to contest that. But Ohio State certainly could have made it more difficult. But yeah, look, anytime you're in a late game situation or in a late game side out of bounds or full court, I mean, there's got to be a level of luck involved, because what you're doing is going to be it's not going to be easy to pull off. It's going to be there's going to be some. There's going to be a tough pass. Somebody's going to have to make a tough catch. Somebody's going to have to make a tough shot. Usually you're going to need 2 or 3 of those to pull something off like that. And so, there's a little bit of that involved in any late game situation. But it's a good play. The one thing it does do is it gives you, if you miss, you want to miss it to the area where there's space. You saw all that space on that wing for North Carolina. So you tell your guy throwing the ball, look, if you miss it, you miss it in space. Like I used to tell our guys, if you miss a lob pass, you better throw that thing out of bounds. Never throw a lob short. Like you better throw it out of bounds. So that way we can at least set our defense. Don't ever miss a lob pass short. On that pass, if you're going to miss it over to where the UCLA is. Like that even wasn't a perfect pass. Miss it where your guys got inside position and can go get it. So there's a lot of little teaching points, on that you can that you can find. And I thought North Carolina did a really, really good job executing it.
And Coach, real quick, if you talked about trying to defend that play, I mean, obviously he's trying not to foul in that scenario, right? You don't want to give him an opportunity to go to the free throw line.
Correct.
So that's why you don't leave your feet.
You can still jump up to contest. You can still jump up and contest. I mean, he just gave the guy an unabated shot. You know, it was just him in the rim. He just gave him a relatively easy look.
How big of a piece for North Carolina's success is Nance? You know, he's not really the headliner.
Yeah, they had Brady Manick last year, who was phenomenal for them, and they basically brought in Nance from the transfer portal to help with Brady Manick, being gone. And so, I think him continuing to play well, maybe this gives him the confidence that he needs to play well and do what he needs to do moving forward here. And so, hopefully, this will give him the jolt that he needs as well to add to those other guys with Baycode and Davis and Love, and hopefully it'll add to that with Nance picking things up now. Yeah. Sometimes all you need is a little jolt of confidence and a big time shot like that, and just for their coaches to call the play to go to him and to find the play to go to him, that gives him a little bit of confidence. So I think we'll see how he progresses and how he builds from this, but I think there's certainly something there to work with.